Hey, what's going on, guys? Thank you for joining us again here on Bait Shop Talk. I'll be your host, Joe, and as always with me are my friends, Bubba with Bubba Outdoors. Go
What's
ahead and
going
say
on,
hi.
everybody?
Guys, thank you for joining us again here on Bait Shop.
Whoa, we are echoing there, Timmy. What's up, guys?
Joining us again here on Bait Shop Talk. I'll be always. We can thank Tim for technical difficulties. Bubba with Bubba Outdoors. Maybe he'll learn to turn off the volume because we can hear him. Hence why me and Bubba wear headsets.
That's right.
So who we got out there with us today? I see we got 4 watching. Don't be shy. Go ahead and use that chat. We're more than welcome to answer any of your questions that you have. As always, we tell every show there is a slight lag to the video. It's like 20 seconds. So if you ask us something and we don't get to you right away, just hang in there. Well, I promise you we'll answer the question either in the chat or right here live on the video.
I want to go ahead and just apologize real quick. Does it work now, everybody?
Yeah, you're good.
We're good now. Okay, sorry about that. I had like the YouTube channels up, and I just had to click out of them. I had to mute it, but we're good now. So sorry about that.
It's the University of Kentucky shirt, I think is what causes it. Oh, look, the fish decided to show up. Usually they always hide behind me during the show, but they decided to come out for at least for a little bit.
What kind of fish you got in there?
Well, I got a bunch of bluegills, and they're all named Sheriff.
What kind of fish you got in your pond?
Leopard bass.
Oh, cool.
You guys don't know what we're talking about. Me and Bubba have like a running skit. If I ever post any pond videos, he always asks me what kind of bass are those because everyone asks me what kind of bass I have. They're just largemouth bass. There's nothing fancy or special about them, but Bubba we like this ongoing skit. Rusty, nice to see you, man. Thank you for coming out. 3 Swords. I haven't seen you on here in a while. We're good to see you. I can't wait to kick this thing off.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Saltwater, freshwater. Saltwater, I haven't really done a lot of saltwater, man. These cold fronts have been killing me. Just like even freshwater, saltwater fish do not like a cold snap. They don't like the high pressure, and it keeps them from doing it. But I definitely need to get in the saltwater. I'm way overdue. The water temperature is finally starting to warm up, even in the surf. And I would love to get out there and get some sea trout. My freezer is looking a little skinny, and I need to get some redfish. I have been craving redfish for so long. But really, like the best times for saltwater for me are summer and fall, because my type of fishing and where I fish at, I fish closer to the ocean. As water temperatures go down, the redfish head way back in the creeks. And I mean, I'll fish the creeks, but I never had that much luck in there. There's some people that own that stuff, but I like fishing more closer towards the surf, Fort George Inlet, Simpsons Creek, like places I can literally paddle to the ocean. So I think that has a lot to do with why I like fishing with saltwater. So sorry, I apologize for that. Haven't been able to get the kayak out in saltwater. So many bass trips, so many tournaments. Right now is prime time for bass fishing. That's why you've been seeing so many bass fishing videos, like March, April, May. Those are like, if you're ever thought about getting into bass fishing and you want to have a good experience, those are the key months to fish for bass. They all
Depending on where you are. Depending on where you are.
Where you are and what day you go. Yeah, to our friends in the north, you're probably still chipping away at ice. So I apologize for that statement.
Yeah, I got some buddies up Minnesota, Canada they just got some more snow, and they were talking about it's still iced over, and it's going to push it back even farther whenever it's normally starting to have their ice out there. So, yeah, depending on where you are, but down here in Big Bass Country, it is prime time for it. It is the time to do it. Hey, I'll give you one guess where I like to do my saltwater fishing at.
Probably from Goat Island.
Creeks. All about the creeks. So well, Tim, what's up with the ponds, man? What you got going on in the ponds, dude?
Yeah, honestly, I haven't been fishing since you and I actually went fishing freshwater. I went bridge fishing last weekend. That's actually the last time I went bass fishing or fishing in general. And that video will be posted tomorrow, and we do have a special guest coming in on that video, and he may or may not be on this talk right now. So I'm looking forward for y'all seeing that video tomorrow at 11.
Yeah, I've been looking forward looking forward to it too. I heard you get a little voice of wisdom while you're doing it.
It was definitely a kick in the back of the face, but it was good.
Was it Three Swords? The city says he's seeing white caps underneath his dock right now. Me and Bubba can verify.
Oh yeah.
Caps. For those of you guys that don't know, me and Bubba are fresh off the water. We just got done fishing a tournament. It was the 2018 Bassin' for Babies tournament, where all the benefits go towards the March of Dimes.
Okay, let me ask you real quick. Did you put that thing in the dryer? Because this thing is soaking wet. It is absolutely soaking wet still.
No, because when I got mine, I stuck it underneath the seat of the boat like a smart man.
All right. Well, yeah, it's we could verify the white caps for sure. It was a rough day. I guess we could jump into that here for a minute because Tim was asking about it, and I was telling him, but we got cut off in the middle of it. So, creek fishing has been good lately. If you saw the videos that me and Tim posted when the 2 times that we went out together recently, it was on fire. We went to Goodby's one time, Goodby's Creek, and it was a slow start. Some cooler morning. And then we finally found them, dialed them in, and they were smaller, but I mean it was a bunch of them real fast. The time before that, we went to Julian Creek and just slayed them. We had near a 20-pound bag between the two of us. Tim had a 5 and a 4, and he did a real good job on his video. I put up one, showing a few different fish too. Then we have this tournament today, and we've been waiting on it for a while. It's kind of a bigger tournament, it should have been a bigger tournament than what it was. Me and Joe went and pre-fished yesterday, and we were really yesterday eliminating area more than we were fishing the area that we planned to fish today. So we had this plan to run way far south and then come back as the tide came up, and hopefully was going to push them into creeks, playing the tide. And we got out and hung a right to head south on the St. Johns River, and didn't get very far before we went to plan B there because it was just insanely rough. It was 20-mile-an-hour winds coming southeast, and 3-foot waves, white caps. I mean, it was a mess. So we went to some creeks, didn't really get on nothing. Got a couple little bites. Joe caught one that was 2 pounds. And then we hit a stretch that was probably 3 hours long where we didn't catch nothing. Pulled up to we thought we were going to go south again. Didn't work. Pulled up to a different creek that I know over there. Joe hooked a mud that was 4.5 pounds, 5 pounds. And then right after that, I hooked a mud that was 5.11. We thought we were going to win trash fish in this tournament with a darn near 6-pound mud, but somebody came in there with an 8+ pound redfish. They went way north in the St. Johns and caught an 8+ pound redfish, beat us out of trash fish. And then right after that, I stuck like a little 1.5 pound. We did a little more scooting around, and then the motor on the boat crapped out, and we were stuck going across the widest part of the St. Johns River at about 5-6 miles an hour in 3-foot waves, white caps, nasty, horrible, all the way to the back of Doctor's Inlet. I mean, it took us 2 hours to get back easy, probably 2+ because we got back after 2 and left before 12, right? So it was probably 2+ hours to get back. And we fished about a half a day and brought 2 fish and a trash fish to the scale. But everybody that was weighing in was 2 fish, 3 fish. One guy ran all the way down to Lake George and caught a giant bag. But other than that, before that, leading it was like 13, 14 pounds. Joe, what do you got about that tournament?
Yeah, the fellow that weighed in the trash fish, I don't consider redfish trash fish. I would have loved to have that redfish.
Heck yeah.
Was Thomas Mott. Thomas, if you ever come across this video, man, it was nice meeting you. It was pretty cool. There's a lot of people that fished that tournament that I've talked with on Facebook, but I finally got to meet face to face. So it was nice to see everybody come out. And like I said, it was for a good cause. All of the proceeds go to the March of Dimes. What I got out of that tournament was everyone that fished in that area, like more or less the northern part of the river, was didn't do that good. It was like what me and Bubba did. We got 2 or 3 fish in a bag maybe, and there was no size. Something I thought about, though, is rain has been far and few between.
Yeah.
So it was something that might have played into that, since we weren't finding any big fish either, and we were fishing the northern part of the river. The salinity might have been higher. Therefore, usually when that happens for bass, when you're in brackish water like that, the saltier it starts to get, the bigger bass move out. They start moving either way back in the creeks or they start moving south. So that might have been what happened there.
It's just a tough bite overall, too. Not only not any big fish, but not a whole lot of fish. I mean, you know, I'd say more people did not have a limit than did have a limit. But, yeah, I mean, I can tell you that it didn't taste that salty from the ride back.
This is true.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad there. But, yeah, it was a tough tournament, guys. It was I still had fun, though. You know, believe it or not, that miserable trip not going – very well on the fish catching end of it, not going very well on the boating end of it. Conditions, it wasn't cold, I'll tell you that. It wasn't hot, it wasn't cold. But talking about tournaments, though, if you guys hadn't seen the last video that Joe posted, he did a tournament on Rodman last week. Joe, tell us about that tournament.
Rodman was a totally different story. I'm very proud of my Rodman tournament. Rodman has always been known, me growing up, all of us living up here in Florida, as a historic place to go catch really big bass. And there's a lot of fish in the reservoir. I think it's the only reservoir we really have in Florida. I know up north there's reservoirs all over the place, especially like in Alabama, northern Georgia, and so on. But this is my second trip back to Rodman with the club, fishing a tournament. Last time I had Ray with me, the sun was out. I went back pretty much to the same area on the north side of the lake. It was the north side of the lake due to the winds that we had. It was northeastern winds, overcast, kind of like what me and Bubba had today, but not as severe. But when I never saw the sun at all that day. And I went to my game plan. I went to what I knew. I figured I'd go to the pads, get a quick limit, and then try to work on bigger fish. Went to the pads. Problem was everybody went to the pads. And if I had some fellas from out of town, they saw me, they were just out there weekend fishing. I think they were keeping bass for dinner. I know that sounds nothing today, but, you know, hey, if that's your thing, that's your thing. But they saw me hook a 2-pounder in the pads, and if I was, as soon as I got that one put in the live well and weighed, here they come. They're right on top of me. So, and I got to looking around. Everyone else fishing the pads were catching little 1-pounders, 1.5-pounders. And I said, there's no way I'm going to win this tournament catching 1-pound bass. So if they're not shallow, let's try offshore. I went out in the stump fields. I threw a drop shot and just kind of in a worm and everything out in the stump fields. I was like 9-10 feet of water. Couldn't even get a bite. There's one other boat out there, so that told me something. I said, well, if they're not deep and they're not shallow, let me try between where the stumps start and where the shallow water is. And I had a rattle trap laying on my deck. But you should always have a rattle trap tied on in Florida, especially in springtime.
And what else? Come on, tell them the best lure to use here in Florida.
Oh, yeah, the vibe tail worm, which I did not pick up a vibe tail worm one time for that tournament.
Oh, my.
Vibe tail worm works great around grass. Where I was, it was mostly stumps and sparse little islands at lily pads. But the first cast out with that rattle trap, I hooked a 3.5. And that right there, light bulb came on. So everybody thought I was nuts. What I would do is I would drive up into the wind and let the wind drift me back. And I was probably about 50, 60 yards off from the closest cover that was on the bank. While everybody else was right up in the lily pads flipping, catching 1-pounders. I sat off the cover, throwing back towards it, and I managed to get a 15-pound bag, which put me in third place. The other fella that won, he won it with 16 pounds, 0.26 ounces. I had a 4.5-pound bass, a 3.5-pound bass, another 3.5-pound bass, 2.5, and a 1.5. If I could have got rid of that 1.5-pound bass, I would have had it. But I still had a great day of fishing. I ended up catching like 10 bass. A lot of them were really big. And if you can ever get on a rattle trap bite, guys, I highly recommend it. Don't put it down, because when they don't lightly hit the rattle trap, they will almost take the rod out of your hands. You'll know when it is a fish, not when you hit grass or anything. And when I was using it, I'd cast it out. I wouldn't just cast it out and reel it back. I'd cast it out, I'd be reeling it, and I'd pop it up, reel it, pop it up, reel it. And a lot of times you'll get that reaction strike because they think that bait's trying to get away from them or it's injured. So if you haven't already, go ahead, head to my videos and check out that Robin tournament. It turned out pretty good. A lot of fish catching action on that video.
Real quick, for you guys that might not be from the area, Northeast Florida, Southeast Georgia, you know, if you're from Southern Florida or some of the surrounding area, you might have been there too. Rodman Reservoir is in Putnam County, right? It's Putnam down there. It's south of Palatka. Yep. So it's something like 9,500 acres, I think. Like 13 miles long, something like that. It's got deep spots. You know, like if you go through the channel, the barge way that's like 30 foot deep in those areas. It's got standing timber. It's got, like Joe was talking about, the stump field. It's got submerged stumps. It's got hydrilla, coontail, eelgrass. It's got all, I mean, a little bit of everything in there. So they'll every 3-4 years or so, they'll draw the water down just to get all that vegetation under control so it doesn't go too crazy. It's like a good natural way of, you know, or not natural, but a good mechanical way of controlling all that vegetation. But it's got a storied history of producing big bass and a lot of them. So that's for you guys. If you're close enough to get to it, it's worth checking out. I've actually, hold on, let me pull it up here. Look, I was looking at it earlier. So the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission does, you know, like we were talking about that 11-pound bass I caught. They do like a citizen science program where they track bass over a certain size in different categories. So not everybody, you know, reports those bass to them, but it's a catch and release survey, basically, of big bass. Since they started that, Rodman has produced 400 bass over between 8 and 10 pounds. 400. So that's pretty good as far as.
I think the only person that, or the only lake up here that could top that would probably be Kingsley.
Yeah, there's nothing reported. Right, there's nothing reported on that. 10 to 13 pounds, 74 of them have been reported. Now, that's not all of them caught. That's just reported, because there's a lot of guys I run into that'll catch big fish and not, you know, they don't even know that program exists. So there's more than that being caught out of there. And there's been 2 reported over 13 out of there. So it's
nobody tells CC.
You're right. He'll be down there with shiners.
Yeah, he's already down there. Just don't tell him about the trophy catch. I want to win that Phoenix.
That's true. CC, they don't count shiner fishing, buddy. If you watching this, they don't count shiner fishing. That's not true. But don't steal my boat.
That's the moral of the story. We want the Phoenix.
That's right. So that's but yeah, if you're in the area, Rodman's definitely worth checking out. Even if you got to travel a bit for it, it's worth the drive. It's got a little bit of everything. It's just a matter of figuring out where they're at that day. But talking about riding around, doing some fishing, we did what you guys talk about the Santa Fe trip?
Oh yeah, that was a fun experience. So that kind of brings me back to what Tim just said. He's like, oh, Tim thinks I call all college kids hippies. I'm like, no, not all the college kids are hippies. The ones that smoke pot and have a man bun and wear skinny jeans are the hippies. They're the hippies of the 2000s.
Those are called hipsters. Hipsters.
Those kids and everything else, guys. I do have to hop off. I got to get back to doing some homework. Unfortunately,
there's one right there.
Hippie hipsters that Bubba or Dinsmore Outdoors wants to make fun of. But anyway, thank y'all so much for having me this evening.
Yeah. One thing before you leave, what we said about earlier.
Oh yeah.
So today, when we were out there fishing the tournament today, the old Mercury gave out again, just so you guys know. And it was struggling to get out there. So, in honor of the camping trip that we took with Tim Kidwell to go catch the Swanee bass in Santa Fe, we have now named my outboard Timmy.
Oh no!
Yep, that's the Mercury.
That
Timmy
is
said,
the Mercury.
Timmy, we got done, or we sure went to come across the river, and Timmy said, "I don't know about you guys. Are you ready to fish yet?"
Are we there yet? Timmy had enough and said, "I'm not paddling no more."
Yep.
You know, before I do hop off, I do gotta say, I don't know how the hell these two old folk were able to be that far above me. But what I found out was that I had a lot of weight in the front of my
Yeah.
He's also the youngest one with two 34-year-olds headlong into the rapids.
Sun's out, guns out, Timmy.
Then it's right. Around the rapids. Y'all were going through them. I was like, screw that, and I went around them.
And we still wore you out. Yeah, we still wore you out.
Yeah, the vibe is tail heavy. And plus, when you got a cooler full of ice and everything back there, and it grabs that keel and kicks it around. So yeah, that was definitely. But I just want to let other folks know that. So if they're fishing places like that, Tim's kayak was freaking built for river fishing. There was a couple of those yellow fins out there.
Oh yeah, I actually named mine Tarzan. It's green, and it actually ends up in the trees more than I do. So I'm going to name my kayak Tarzan.
All right. Well, we'll let you jump off of here, Tim. Thanks for coming around for the little bit you did here, man. We'll catch up later and do some fishing.
Thank y'all for having me on here. See y'all soon.
All right, man. Hopefully we'll get you for the full one next time. You take care and go take care of that homework, young man.
Yep.
Sir. All right. See y'all.
Later.
See you. So that's another video for you guys to go watch if you haven't seen it on Tim's channel. He's got so these two guys got down there before I did, and the Joe calls me while I'm still at work on Friday and says, "Hey man, you got any bolt cutters?" I'm like, "No, I don't think so." Why? Because Tim locked his kayak to the roof of his Jeep with like a bike, like heavy duty bike cable, and lost the key. So I'm like, well, I got an angle grinder and an inverter. So first thing when I got down there, I was waiting on them to open up the check-in at Jenny Springs so I could get in. And the first thing that we did is I went and drove to camp, and we took the extension cord and the grinder up to the bathrooms, and I cut the kayak off the top of his Jeep with the master key there. And I'm sure some hipsters, whatever you want to call them, the young kids sleeping off the hangover the night before were real happy with me firing up the old Black & Decker at 8:30 in the morning there. But otherwise, man, we got down there. We ended up getting a spot right across from the boat ramp. It was, me and Joe camped in hammocks. That was my first time camping in a hammock. Dude, I thought it was awesome. What did you think?
Yeah, I slept really comfortable other than the screams in the middle of the night and loud rock music. Badger Farm Girl, what's going on? Thanks for joining us.
Hello.
What was I going to say? The camping, I had a great time camping. I just wish we could have found a little bit more quieter spot. That was the only thing. I think next time we'll definitely go somewhere else. Yeah. But I had a great time. It was interesting river fishing in that bigger river and going up against the current with the axe. By the way, Big Bubba Big O left you a comment. He said he loves the hood ornament on your kayak.
Thanks, buddy. It's they make good rod holders when I lay them down front ways. It's keeps them low and out of the way, and it's Camiac ramrod. It's got to make it mine, It's it gets the job done. Mine is like at least minimum 700 pounds lighter than Joe's kayak. At least 700 pounds. It's probably more like 1,200 pounds lighter. That thing is freaking ridiculous. I mean, it's very buoyant. It sits on top of the water, but good Lord, carrying it. I mean, we didn't have far to go. That thing is heavy.
That's why it's the battleship, man.
Yeah, it is.
400 pounds.
I believe it.
Fight a bull shark standing up on that thing. Badger Girl says she's in a big snowstorm in Wisconsin, and here I was just talking about how March, April, and May are my favorite times to go bass fishing in Florida. Right. Don't worry, Badger Girl. It's not snowing here, but we have a very bad rainstorm coming through here. It's been raining nonstop for like the past 4 hours with lightning. And if you missed it, we were just out there in the river. The boat broke down. not necessarily broke all the way down, but we were disabled and had to go through like 2-foot white caps, 3-foot white caps, and me and Bubba just got soaked and made it in just in time before the lightning showed up.
Yeah,
but,
it was something special, that's for sure. And like 3 or 4 guys, they had to get picked up because they couldn't make the trip back anymore. It just got too dangerous for them to keep going in the boat. Luckily, we made it back before all that hit. But yeah,
they were bigger boats with engines that worked.
Right, and they had to pull in the nearest boat ramp and get somebody to go pick them up because it was so bad. You know, luckily we got that got back before that hit, but we were standing there at weigh-ins and my phone was just blowing up with the Weather Channel app giving me, you know, severe storm warning, tornado watch, you know, nonstop while we were sitting there at the weigh-in. So yeah, it was nasty. It wasn't that, but I kept telling Joe, thankfully it wasn't cold.
Yeah, thank goodness for that. So, yep. What was your first impressions when you finally got to catch a Swanee bass? Like, what was your thoughts when you finally saw one?
It was, you know, when I first hooked it, because what happened, you know, and this part of our chasing the slam that we're doing long ongoing thing here, I actually got this checked off the list, guys, but I can't prove it, so it doesn't count because we thought that it was 1 inch. The minimum was 1 inch longer than what it was. We thought
it had to be 15 inches. When in reality, they have to be 14 inches to qualify.
Yeah. So I caught one that was 14. That wasn't the first one I caught, but I caught one that was 14. But it doesn't count. So we got to go back, which I don't mind because it was fun fishing for them. It's a different type of fishing. They won't leave cover as much as largemouth will. I found that out pretty quick. They'll hold tighter to cover because it's such a faster moving current than the river that we fish up here. So it's a lot of precision target casting. But whenever I first took that first one, it was in really fast moving current and I got him out in the middle of it. And I was like, dang, this is probably it. He's fighting hard because I had him on that Enigma I got, which is a pretty stout rod. And I'm thinking, man, I've got this checked off the box because we'd paddled all the way upriver. We stopped, we beached the kayaks for a minute, just kind of get all the rods out, get everything set up. And standing there on the bank, it was like my 3rd or 4th cast. I hooked the first Swanee bass. I was 5 minutes into it. It's like, oh, I got him. I got this. But then got him up there, and I was amazed at how small he was for how hard he fought. Hard fighting fish and an absolutely beautiful fish. They're real dark. Got like tiger stripes on them. Got a lot of the little bit older ones because the younger ones I caught didn't have too much teal on them. But the older ones have like teal on their underside and on their gills. Beautiful fish. I really liked it. It was different style of fishing. Awesome place to be. Some natural Florida. It was beautiful. What do you think about them?
Well, I thought, how the hell did he catch a Swanee bass that fast? That was my first impressions. If you guys don't know, you haven't seen the video yet. We pulled over because we had to give Timmy a break because he's worn out from paddling. And we got our stuff all in order. And Bubba stepped out and grabbed a spinning rod and made a couple of casts from the bank and immediately hooked up the Swanee bass before even we got started. So I'm like, you got to be kidding me, because the way they make it sound is it's incredibly rare to catch a Swanee, when in reality, about every fish we caught, except for maybe 1 or 2, it's more rare to catch a largemouth than it is to catch a Swanee down there.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be all largemouth and like a rare Swanee, but it was definitely the opposite. It was 9 out of 10 were Swanee bass. Yeah,
Big O said he added it to his bucket list. I'll tell you what, Big O, I'll trade you. I need a peacock bass for my bucket list, and you need a Swanee. So maybe we could do something there. And if you ever go fishing for them, they don't really hit, like when they hit your lure, they don't hit it like a bass. You don't feel just a thump and then wait. They peck at it. It feels like a bluegill. You'll feel just like bump, 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 bump. And a lot of times we thought that's what it was. They're like, oh, man, bluegill. When in reality, it's a Swanee bass. And that's another thing, too. In slow-moving water, a bass will grab it, and then he'll move out the deep water. So you got time to set the hook. These Swanees, when the lure's coming by, they grab it, and as soon as they feel the weight of the line get pulled by the current, they know something's up, and they spit it right back out. So basically, as soon as you feel that bump, 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 hook sets are free. Just set the hook. Because it's either going to be a bluegill or a Swanee. The Swanee sit just like a bluegill. That was kind of odd to me.
Here was my hypothesis on that. Here's what I figured out too: is they've got smaller mouths, obviously, than a largemouth, and I mean, like size to size, as far as mouth size goes, it's considerably smaller. And their primary food source is crawfish. So a lot of people may or may not know, if you've ever seen a bass eat a crawfish, like underwater footage of it, a lot of times they'll pick them up and they'll slam them trying to knock the craws off. Well, they got such a smaller mouth and they're in that current, so they're not running out to deep water. Because Joe taught me this today, actually. Joe taught me this, that, you know, why they'll run out to deep water is because they want to take it away from whatever cover they're at. So if it does get out of their mouth, it's got nowhere to run to. They can pick it back up. So it's the opposite with the Swannies, because they sit in current breaks in fast moving water. So they want to keep it in that current break so it's not getting washed away. And my guess was that it goes bump, 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 because they're probably picking it up and smacking it, trying to knock claws off of it. That's my guess. Thoughts? No? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that makes
looking at me like I'm speaking another language over here.
I know. We're looking at all these nice comments that Big O's leaving here. It's always nice to see comments over here in the section of the chat. I love it.
Well,
make that happen. I think we had to do that one day. I think we had to get you, me, and Timmy and head down south, like where Big O's at, meet up with him. Let's go catch the peacocks.
I'm in.
That's definitely a bucket list.
I'm in. That's a what list?
Bucket list.
Oh, with a B.
Yeah, definitely.
That soft plastic he was holding in his hand, throw that thing away. Go buy every crazy leg chigger crawl you can find at Walmart. They were all over those things. They were all over them.
His green pumpkin trigger crawl. If you watch my video, you'll hear me like digging through the kayak, and I'm like, what do I have as green pumpkin?
Yeah, they were all over it. They were all over that. And it's got these little tentacles that flip up in the current, and it's got some big claws on it. And yeah, green pumpkin, it stinks like like week-old crawfish been sitting in your cooler.
Yeah, my biggest Swanee that I caught came on a green pumpkin tube that has orange on the bottom, on the little tentacles here. And I was drifting by power lines, and I looked down and I see a big giant submerged log laying under the water, and I thought, dude, there's got to be a Swanee just kind of chilling, breaking the current behind that log, waiting for something to drift over. So I pitched that tube, and I might have got 2 hops out of it, and you see me like pretty much set the hook straight up, and I got my biggest Swanee. It was on that, but I couldn't get one to hit the tube again. But I got some Gambler BB crickets. This is just to give you an idea what it looks like. And I bought some in green pumpkin. So the next time we go down there, hopefully to put one in the big tank, not this tank, but my 125-gallon tank, we'll take a whole pack of those and we can tear them up.
We were, getting ready for that trip. We were watching, because we're big YouTube nerds. Like, that's all I do when I get home. I don't watch TV. I sit down and watch fishing on YouTube. And we were watching like every YouTube video we could find on catching Swanee bass. And our experience was largely nothing like most of what you see on that stuff. I think a lot of the guys that you see catching more largemouth than Swanee bass is because they're fishing for largemouth. You see a lot of guys tossing like small, like pond magic size spinner baits, little tiny crankbaits and stuff like that. So we took away from those videos, crawfish is what we took away from them, and really crushed them on them. But on the YouTube thing, what's some of that, the YouTube? Because I mean, that's all I watch, dude, is YouTube. Whether it's fishing or other stuff. But what's some of your go-to YouTube channels?
Here lately, like one of my favorite ones to watch, I mean, is Realistic Fishing. Alex with Realistic Fishing. Just his namesake of his video says it all. He doesn't go on elaborate trips. He doesn't own a $80,000 bass boat, fishing out of a new Ranger or whatever. He fishes like most people, like anyone could do. Kids, if you don't have a boat, whatever. He gets in his car. He goes to Walmart. He picks up a couple bags of plastics or, whatever looks good to him, and he tries new lures. And he'll go out to his local park and fishes off the bank. You know, anybody can do that. That's what's so great about fishing. Young, old, doesn't matter if you have a boat or not. I mean, if you can get to a body of water and you don't have to have a lot of money, he took a Lew's Hank Parker special. That was a $15 combo, man.
Yeah, it's a Walmart. They had them real cheap for a while. They're gone now, but yeah, I saw those Lew's Hank Parkers at Walmart.
Right. I mean, he took one of those out, and you know, you think, oh man, $15 rod, and he killed him. I don't even think he killed the Lew's. I think he probably still has it. I don't remember him saying there was any problems with it at all. So he's definitely up there amongst my favorites. I remember Alex when he only had like 1,000 subscribers. He doesn't do any fancy editing. He doesn't do any B-roll or music or anything to it. It's just kind of like him getting out in and out of his car. Here's what I'm using today. Let's go try it. And then another thing I love about his videos is how he calls people out for littering. And he instead of just saying, "Oh man, there's trash everywhere," you know, these people suck. He'll go to his car, get a trash bag, and freaking start cleaning up the park. You know, he'll pick it up himself and then throw it all in the dumpster where it's supposed to go anyway. Like my #1 pet peeve, I hate finding fishing line. I hate seeing used fishing line everywhere. I will get that up in a heartbeat.
Sorry.
I like how he brings awareness to this. He even got other YouTubers that are like bigger than us to start doing it, like Lojo Fishing. I think he did it too. I like watching Lojo. He's pretty cool. Mikey Balls, I've been watching him a lot. Mikey Balls is best known for punching. He's like the punching master. If you don't know what I mean by punching, it's where you take a real heavy worm weight in a soft plastic and you throw it up into a real dense cover, and that heavy weight breaks through that mat because underneath the bat is hollow underneath. It may look like a lot of vegetation, but it's hollow underneath, and that bait punches through. And bass are used to seeing worms on the outside edge all day, but now it's in their house, so they attack. They go after it. But I like watching him. He like breaks everything down. He has certain videos to show you. He doesn't hide anything. That's what another thing I love about him. He shows you, here's the baits I'm using. Here's the colors that work real good. You know, here's the knots that I use. Here's the weights, hooks, so on. And also he's been doing cranking or offshore crankbait fishing and just killing toads, man. Giant bass. He got a 49-pound bag. That is insane. I was happy to catch a 15-pound bag.
Yeah, that's huge.
Right. That's I think it's the biggest bag ever like put up on YouTube or like shown caught on YouTube. 3 Swords, yeah, Lew's Speed Spool. That's like every single one of my reels are Lew's Speed Spools. They're just different varieties, but they're all speed spools. But anyway, back to Mikey Balls. He calls out Googans, which is something that me and Bubba did today. But his idea of Googans is not the rich kids on YouTube. The idea of Googans are the guys like I was talking about at Robin. If someone sees you catch a fish, you know, you put in all this hard work and everything to be able to catch a fish, and you're fishing a tournament, and someone comes over there encroaching on your spot, or they just do something like totally etiquette. Like, for instance, what happened to me and Bubba today. We pull over. There's some guys out in a little skiff or whatever, and you can clearly see we're working down a stretch of bank. Well, these guys come over and cut right in front of us, knowing that we're going this direction. I mean, come on, man. That's a pretty messed up move. So what did I do? I turned up the trolling motor, and I went around and skipped them. You know, I got a tournament to fish. Me and Bubba are trying to do what we can and win a little extra money. And we fish to win, man. Nobody wants to fish for 5th place.
Yeah, that's you see it too often, you know, especially guys like that look like they probably fish all the time. They ought to know better. Honestly, it's just etiquette. You know, if you're just out there screwing around like that, or, you know, I whenever I'm doing it, if I see somebody roll up that's obviously tournament fishing, then I'll do my best to stay out of their way. But they did not give a damn. But you know, like I watch a lot of those, the same couple you mentioned there too, a lot. So I won't go back over them, but you know, some of the stuff I like to watch. I like Tactical Bassin. If you ever see them, they go pretty in depth on. They don't show there's a lot of them where they're catching like giant fish, and they're based out of California. There's a lot of them where they're catching giant California, huge trophy fish. But there's a lot of like in-depth technical stuff they do. They do a lot of underwater footage. Fluke Master, he's pretty good about it too, about explaining really well what he's doing. And, you know, just kind of on the other end of that, Scott Martin, I like, you know, because you get to kind of get an idea of what somebody at his level's doing. And then there's, you know, that's just naming the bigger ones. There's a lot of small guys that I watch too that are, you know, smaller people like us that are, you know, just buddies on YouTube. But I like to watch a lot of those, like where I really get nerded out on it. You know, the more in depth that they get, the more I sit there and watch a 20, 30-minute video on it.
For me, like I like Marty's Big O brought up a good point. I like do-it-yourself YouTubers.
Yeah.
Before I even thought about having a kayak, you know, I was still kind of hung up on the idea, do I want to invest this kind of money in a plastic boat and go kayak fishing? Am I even going to like it? You know, I didn't really know. So I did like everybody else, and I went on YouTube and did some research. And the one name in when it came to kayak fishing that kept popping up over and over again was Zolfinger.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. He's like the king of kayak DIY.
Absolutely.
And this is back before he got his boat that he lives in, and before he got his property, his business that he's trying to start up down there in Tampa, down there in your area, Big O. I don't know if you went by his place or not, but if I lived as close as you did, I would definitely go check it out. I probably will do that one day. This is old school. When he had, before he got sponsored by Pelican, even when he had
the little red
kayak with the toolbox and the live shrimp, coffee can, aerator.
Yep.
And man, I took so much stuff from all the DIY that he did. I think that's what really turned me on. And I watched, you know, he'd go get bait and go out red fishing, and he'd have an ugly stick and a Shakespeare, or, you know, just stuff that like what me and Bubba use. You know, we don't care. We just want to go out and catch some dinner. And he was no shame in that either. He'd be like, hey, I'm not catching these fish for just sport. I'm catching them so I can have something to eat. And that's what really turned me on. That's what put me over the edge to get a kayak, because he showed that, yeah, you can buy a piece of plastic that floats. But the thing about a kayak is you can make it yours. You can make it unique to you. You can make it do what you need it to do and fit you and be comfortable for you. And, you know, and show off some of your own little traits and stuff that you like. Like Bubba. Bubba likes, he's got cow horns on the front of bull horns on the front of his they use for rod holders. You know, me, I put a fish finder, and I got a little cooler and things like that in the background that I love. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yakking with Sarah, I actually got to meet him at the Bassmaster Classic. If you guys haven't seen it, even on Zolfingers, he went to the Bassmaster Classic and recorded because he had to go to the expo, and he sat at the Pelican booth, and he talked to every single person that came by, was willing to say, hey. He's, no matter how many, see, there you go, 30 miles out, Yak Motley and Zolfinger. I like 30 miles out. They started off kind of good, but I don't know. I've kind of shied away from them here lately. They starting to get a little too ridiculous for me. They're like after the catch, and they're just putting out videos for the sake of putting out videos, it seems like now. I was happy when they just had their videos being simple. They were just walking down the beach and fishing from the beach. They get up in the morning, go by the pier, and fish by the beach. Anyway, I'm getting off subject. Thanks, Big O. You didn't derail the train. But no, Zolfinger is what got me into kayak fishing. Is there any guys on YouTube, Bubba, that you really, you know, you don't care for? Like, you know, it seems like they're really big, but you're like, yeah, it just ain't your cup of tea.
You know, there's a few guys. I think they live together. Can't remember the name. They're all in the same house. You know, real bunch of little spoiled rich kids. That
called Big Brother.
Yeah, that's it. Yep. Yeah, I can't stand those guys. Can't stand them. I really can't. There's a few other ones that I won't pick on, but those guys, you know, they can take it with. I'm sure they get a lot more heat that I'll ever throw their way. I can't stand those guys. Oh, I almost forgot another one that I do like.
Sarah got it. You and Sarah are on the same page.
Yeah, I do have another one that I do like, though, that I haven't watched too much of just because it hasn't been popping up suggested, but talking about kayak fishing. I like Chad Hoover. He's pretty good with you know, he's running that whole kayak based tournament system and everything. Always fishing. That's all he does is fish out of a kayak and does it well. And he's a big guy, but he'll get out there and, you know, in all different kinds of kayaks and show you, you know, what they can do. So I like him too.
Yeah, he's also a veteran. He was a Navy man too.
Yeah. Yep.
I like big YouTubers who will actually reply to your comments. Like, they're not, you know, their celebrity status has not gotten so big where they feel that other smaller YouTubers or people that, you know, are fans are beneath them. I mean, there may be times where, yeah, if someone leaves me a comment on my videos, it might take me a minute or two to respond because, you know, work and life and things. But I make time, I sit down, and I respond to every comment. If anything, just to say thank you. But there's a lot of guys that it seems like they're too big. They don't care about the people that help make them. They don't. It seems like they're subscribers. They're just like whatever, you know. They'll patronize them. Like, you'll see them put a little thing out there, but that's about it. Mikey Balls, to me, I consider him a big YouTuber. He's up there. A lot of people know him. Even people that are not really into YouTube, they know him. But what was so cool to me, though, is he used to live around Gainesville. Now he lives down in South Florida. And I did the Rodman tournament. And I said, hey, man, I'm not trying to spam you with videos or nothing. I'm not looking for a shout-out. I just know that you used to fish Rodman a lot, and I thought you would like this video. So I sent Mikey Balls a link to my video, and never thinking I'd hear anything back from him. It was on his Facebook page. And sure enough, we're out there fishing the tournament. I hear my phone ding, and it was him. He replied to my video and watched it. He said, what did he say? He said something along the lines of, that was a really cool video, bud. Looks like old Rodman still got it. And just something little like that meant so much to me. Like, dude, Mikey Balls replied to a message I wrote.
No, he's all giddy over there.
I am, but I got one that tops that. Mikey, I love you to death, man, but I got one that tops that while we're talking about kayaks. I thought about it. Big O knows my very first kayak was a Pescador. And I just got back from Africa from a deployment when I bought it. And I did a review on it because I'm sure there's other people that were looking into different kayaks. And I did a review on my Pescador, my Perception Pescador. And before I started the review, I dedicated the review to Marty's Offinger. So I said, Marty, you were the inspiration behind me taking the leap and getting into kayak fishing and buying this kayak. I said, so this video is for you. And then I went on into the review. Never thought anything about it. Well, some months go by, and I got a comment from Marty. Marty left me a comment saying, like, you know, great video, thank you very much, and he subscribed to my channel. Too cool, dude. Too cool.
Well, that's one of the cool parts about YouTube is that, you know, you can get hours of entertainment from it like we all do, but it's also super interactive. You know, it's a community. Like, that's how Joe and I met, was from YouTube. And now I consider Joe a good friend of mine. But it's a community, and there is interaction to it. That's why it's, you know, it's a cool form of entertainment, because it's different, because you have that interaction instead of just being stuck, you know, just watching some overly produced pile of crap. You know, so it's you know, if you guys do put out videos, I encourage you to do the same. Interact with people. You know, that's part of the cool thing about doing what we all do. You get to do what you enjoy doing, put it out there, you know, for other people to see, and then have a conversation about it. It's cool. And you might end up meeting some guy that'll take you out there and break down on his boat in the middle of the river with you.
Yeah, or you meet some guy because you forgot your keys, and he brings an angle grinder to get your kayak off the roof of your car.
Exactly. Yeah. You get, you know, all kinds of cool stuff can come from stuff like that. Here's one, kind of skipping around a little bit. You guys touched on, you know, talking about realistic fishing like real people do, and then some reels, fishing cheap. Well, you may or may not know that I am needlessly frugal. That's a good way to put it. I'm cheap as hell, and you may have seen these floating around. That is, you know, the infamous $15, $18 Chinese reel that You know, it's even got Chinese writing on it. That a lot of people have tried, good, bad reviews, whatever. I'll give you the idea on this for the, you know, if you're just doing casting and reeling, they're actually fine. You want to throw something like a rattle trap, a crankbait, a spinner bait, they're actually not bad. Other than that, you cannot pitch and skip with these things. You know, it's got all the brakes on it and they suck. You know, if you get it tuned right, it won't backlash if you're just doing that. I still use one of these on my topwater rod all the time, with the one with the magnetic brake on it. Works fine for that kind of thing. But I recently snagged a Cast King to slap on. Originally, I grabbed one to put on that Enigma I got. This one is the Cast King Spartacus. That's the one that I just got the other day. I bought a second one because I loved it so much. You know, the Cast King Royales are like $38. I let Joe throw it around down there on the Santa Fe. What did you think?
Other than you being a freak of nature and being left-handed, I liked it a lot. I thought it was really smooth. It was right there at my lose.
Yeah, I would, you know, so you look at the price tag on it and your natural inclination is going to be to compare it to stuff like a Black Max or, you know, the beginner level Bass Pro Shops ones. Completely blows those out of the water. I would put these in, you know, like $100, $120 reel category, stuff like, you know, the entry level lose. I got 2 of them now. I'll probably snag some more, just because they are definitely, and I got nothing to do with Cast King other than I have 2 of them right here. Absolutely love them. For the price, that's the best reel that I've found for the price. The Royale is the one that I put on the Enigma rod. This one's, I think I'm going to switch these 2 rods. You know, this is the one I was using most of the day today, Joe, for like flipping and stuff. Or the 2 reels. I think that I'm going to use the Royale as like my flipping pitching reel because it's got a higher gear ratio. That one's 7.0. The other one's the Spartacus is 6.3. Both of them pitch and flip fine. I just like that higher gear ratio when I'm pitching and flipping to get it back faster because that's usually pitching in there and bouncing a couple times. Nothing happens, pull it out, do it again. Get a little higher gear ratio on that. But the 2 of them, man, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. It's the idea is consumer direct, you know, so they're not going through a store, so the price is cheaper. This seems like one of those times where it's actually true. You know, it's a pretty good quality product. We'll see how they hold up over time, but you know, for $38-$40, if it doesn't, you know, if it lasts a couple seasons, I'm golden. I'm definitely enjoying those.
How do you like that the cork handles on the Spartan?
You know, they're a little big. Yeah, they're considerably larger than the EVGA ones on the other one. I like the cork, and I think in the right application, I like them being bigger too. You know, I like them. Yeah, the size is different. I guess I'll say I don't necessarily dislike that they're, you know, bigger in your hand, but I do like it.
Yeah, kind of going back to the YouTube guys, I feel like there's 2 channels that have drastically kind of gone off the page from what got them to their status in YouTube. One of those being Bama Bass. I'm sure a lot of you guys know who Bama Bass are if you're a bass fisherman. He's like he was like the king of frogging. That's what he was known for. He's like the frog guy on YouTube.
Fish Tank Tuesday.
Right, and he went from frog fishing and showing like these really cool shots of like slow motion bass strikes on topwater lures or frogs dangling out of trees. And that's what got everybody to, you know, to come there. That's what got people to his channel and subscribe because they thought that was really cool. And then somewhere along the way, it went from actual fishing videos to fish videos. He got that. He got that 300-gallon tank. He put the 2 bass and Bubba's favorite sheriff in there, the bluegill, and that's
that thing.
Pretty much all we see is Liz updates and Tank Tuesdays.
It's now an aquarium channel.
Yeah, it's basically became an aquarium channel. I mean, yeah, I'd be excited too if I had a 300-gallon aquarium, but you know, stay to what got you there. You know, let's see some more frog videos, man. Get back out there and do what we used to. The second one for me, Lake Fork guy.
Oh yeah.
My favorite videos with him was he would just go to the local lake, put in the boat, and just go bass fishing. That was my favorites, and that's what he used to do. Like it was even like maybe not last year, but the year before. That's what it was. He'd go out there and catch white bass. He'd go through a spinnerbait, catch largemouth, and he was informative. He was kind of like New Age Bill Dance, but just not sitting down. And he would give he would try new things. But now that he's like became one of the Googans, nothing against the Googans. That's they do what they do. He's going to Amazon. He's going to the Amazon. He's going to Mexico. Like different, crazy hunts and stuff, like hunting hogs and night vision and stuff. The average person really cannot relate to that. I like YouTubers I can relate to. Like, I don't have the money to go down on a riverboat trip to the Amazon. I don't have the money or the means to take a bass boat and go fish with Denny Breyer in Mexico. Man, get back to what your fans can do, man. Go back to just going fishing on the lake.
I mean, it's a lot of I guess different people liking different things, which is that a lot of kids that pond fish and upload videos of them, kids pond fishing. That's the only thing they can do. They love that. That's their audience. It really is. And they love watching those kind of videos that are super produced. It's more of a vlog than, a fishing video because they upload them all the time. That's their audience. And there's nothing against, those people that watch that. But, I think most of our kind of thing is just that, is just guys going fishing. And I mean, I guess it's whoever, if you're going for views and trying to make a living out of it, I guess that's why they do that kind of thing. Why those channels have changed the way that they have for that reason, because they're trying to get as many of those kids as they can to watch, which is, I mean, I guess that's fine, but they are going to lose, my video or my view. But at the same time, the advertiser that are advertising on their channel, or they're advertising like Android apps and stuff like that, because that's advertising to that same audience. Where
speaking of kids watching, I'm watching a kid right now. Little Bubba is on the loose.
He got him some chicken nuggets back here. He's in Little Bubba heaven with some living the nug life. Got him some McDonald's chicken nuggets. That's
man, I want me some chicken nuggets.
That's his jam. He's all about that.
Now, I can't sit here and say anything, because like if someone came up to me and offered me a free trip to go catch peacock bass in the Amazon, there's no way in hell I'm going to say no. But like I miss the good old days. What brought me to him. That's all I can say. But hey, man's doing what he's doing. To, live it up, man. Live it up.
Yep. But you did mention another one that I like too. I have been going back and watching a bunch of old Bill Dance videos lately. They're awesome because he tells you everything that he's doing. Granted, he's fishing, his private lake on his ranch that, it might not apply everywhere else, but it's really informative. I know a lot of the people that watch us are older people, but like I was gonna recommend to the Mercury, to Timmy, to go back and watch some Bill Dance videos, because it is super informative and fun. It's
most people watch Bill and think of Bill Dance and think of his bloopers.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is you get down the YouTube wormhole and you're gonna end up with a bunch of Bill Dance blooper videos that are, those are entertaining too. But they are actually good fishing videos. And I was telling Joe the other day, I was watching one of Roland Martin's newer videos. He doesn't have a whole lot out, but I learned something from that. So, it's worth going back and watching the old guys too, because a lot of their TV show stuff. When I grew up, it was always, if you weren't fishing on a weekend morning, you were watching it on TV. You're watching one of those on TV. Before it was, tournaments, it was like outdoor shows, and we would go back or we would watch all those all the time. And a lot of those old episodes are getting uploaded now, and it's good to remind you of something that you might not have thought about, or teach you something new that you never knew. So I'm going back and watching a lot of that stuff lately.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely. There's a guy, his name's Lynn Collier, I think. He's on YouTube. He's uploaded like every classic, like 90s Bassmaster video and FLW. It's pretty cool to go back and see like 90s bass fishing. I think that's where I'm at. I could be a professional 1989 Bassmaster with the equipment that I have. Not the new guys, though. Not the new guys.
Right. If they had their equipment and you had all the new stuff.
Right. And they all had 150s was the biggest outboard you could get.
And let me tell you guys, talking about that, our tournament today, we were the 3rd boat out of there, and we were about the 12th boat back within 5 minutes of hitting no wake or getting past the no wake signs. Everybody just zoomed past us. It was hilarious. I wish we could have got on a big old bag and just said, yeah, screw you guys with your big old motors.
Yeah, but we're talking about me having a 150 and everybody else with Allisons and bullets. There are some guys there in a John boat with a trolling motor only.
Yep. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Hey, nope. I mean, if you guys have ever seen me, I fished out of a 1985 Bass Tracker with a 40 horse on it.
With a plywood console.
Yeah, that's right, with a plywood console. And it is pallet wood plywood. That came off a pallet.
Right. So any means necessary, guys. That's why we love this sport so much that we do. You know, I said it probably 3 times today. I cannot believe how much money I spend just to have the chance to go out and catch a little green fish. That's nuts, ain't it?
It is. The thing's got so much power over us. You know, how much time do we spend working that we can dedicate money and time to that? And it's crazy.
Right. I gotta save a lot more money just staying here at the house playing Xbox.
Right. Well, while we, you know, we gotta, you know, we'll keep jaw flapping here for a minute, guys. But while we're getting towards the end, towards the time we're gonna wrap up, you know, guys, you got any questions, any comments, anything, you know, anything you want to say or ask or anything like that? Shoot that out here. But now I will tell you, while we're watching the chat here, guys. One of my favorite times of year is coming up, and I want to do it with you this year, Joe, because we didn't get to do it last year together. When post spawn gets over, and we start getting into some early summer stuff before they move deep, is Bubba's time to shine. It's when the top water bite gets really, really, really good, and I'm going to take you toading in the creeks with me.
Yeah, I never got to go toading in the creeks.
Yep.
And I want to take you toading on Ocean Pond. They're not big bass, but it's fun. Even you can go catch the chain pickerel. They'll blow up on a toad too, which is pretty cool. And they just annihilate it. But in hindsight being 2020 or whatever, or what's good for the goose is good for the gander, I want to get you in the salt water.
Yeah, it's I've been bass fishing so hard that I've been neglecting saltwater. It has been the last, I don't know, probably year and a half or so. I've been doing like 3-4 trips, I guess, total of saltwater fishing. It has not been much. I grew up the opposite. As a kid, you know, me and my dad were pretty much strictly saltwater fishermen. That's all we did. You know, we would go bass fishing every once in a while if it was chop or something like that, but it wasn't very much at all. So yeah, I definitely want to do some more saltwater fishing. Haven't done a whole lot of it in a long time.
Yeah, for me, growing up, it was kind of half and half. Springtime was for bass fishing until about June when the king mackerel showed up, and then it was offshore fishing. So there was really no inshore there at all. Don't choke. Someone give Bubba the Heimlich.
No, that's me choking at offshore fishing.
Oh, you get seasick?
No, that I just hate it. I've done enough of it to be over the big fish of it, but it's right out to a waypoint, drop it down, catch a fish.
No, like we did trolling. Like we troll for sailfish, kingfish, whatever.
Okay.
Then swimming along.
You ride out to a certain depth and you ride.
Yeah, you ride.
Yeah.
You listen to the radio, drink a cool beverage, and wait for a real scream.
Yeah, that is me choking at offshore fishing. I'm sorry. I know a lot of you guys watching probably like offshore saltwater fishing. I'm just worn out on it. I am. When I was in my early 20s, I was telling Joe today I bought a brand new boat. It was was a Sea Swirl. It was a dual console, and it was brand new, big old high sides on it, and it was just built for that. It wasn't huge like a big old Contender or nothing like that, but it was built for, calm-ish offshore fishing, and I just did it so much that I got bored of it.
Yeah, definitely some saltwater goals for me this year. Now that I'm actually going to be home, except for there's 2 weeks in July that I got to be gone. But I'm actually going to be home for this summer. 2 goals for me. I want to catch a tarpon. If I do it from the kayak, that's even freaking better.
Heck yeah.
And I want us to do some land-based shark fishing. Bubba, I think you would really like that. Do some shark fishing from the beach.
I'm in.
Go catch a big 8-foot bull shark. And all that stuff, guys, will definitely be put up on YouTube. Just like I can't be a hypocrite and say I wish these guys would go back to their roots. I know what a lot of my subscribers came from. They came from my kayak saltwater fishing videos. So as soon as it starts warming up, which will be probably here in the next couple of weeks, actually, and I get the chance, I'm going to get the kayak back out in saltwater. Just 2 reasons. Freezer's getting low, and I'm sure the bass boat will be in the shop. So, and I'd like to bring Bubba along with me, especially like a Fort George Inlet trip or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I doing the same thing. Like, I've never been one of the guys that try to grow their YouTube channel or try to overly produce or anything. But at the same token, I appreciate all the subs I have and sharing this, the fun experience I have with you guys. I think I got a lot more love from the people that did watch whenever I was doing, more of the backwoods, get as far back as I could away from everybody, early morning, barely visible, quiet kind of thing. And I want to get back to some of that myself.
Yeah, well, we can definitely do that when we do our little Toading in the Creek episode. Yeah, I want to get me a creek toad bass.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to teach me toad food, master.
It is an art. Well, we're coming up on post spawn here. I mean, it's kind of been a weird stretched out spawn this year. So we're seeing fry now. It's not real thick because it was weird weather kind of pushed the spawn out to where it's lasting a long time. I would not be surprised to see some spawners pop up still. But since we're so far ahead of the rest of the country, sorry, Badger Girl, snowing. Whenever it does hit post spawn, for any of you folks that might be up north, what are some of your favorite post spawn lures, Joe?
Post spawn, I think anything that's like a bluegill imitation, because now the bluegill, or at that time the bluegill will start spawning, and the bass kind of hang out by the bluegill beds, like the little bluegill colonies. And it's kind of like someone hanging out by the refrigerator. Whenever they get hungry, they just zoom in there and grab a bluegill, and they're good. So they just hang out where there's easy food. They don't have to go look for it. So anything that's bluegill imitation, buzz bait. I love throwing. I know you get back throwing a buzz bait. Frogs, can't beat a frog either. Like I said, I never really got into toad fishing until I met up with Bubba. So new people give you new experiences.
That has replaced, and when we're talking about toads, what we're talking about is soft plastic frogs. Toads are how you kind of differentiate between a hollow body frog and a soft plastic frog. They're like a subtle buzz bait. Creates a lot of surface disturbance, but not super loud. It doesn't, make that same splash crash when it hits the water. For me, that has replaced buzz baits almost completely. Just because it is, it's so versatile in the different types of noises you can make with it, and it doesn't spook as many fish away. With a buzz bait, they either hit it like as soon as it hits the water, or you spook them off and they hit it somewhere in the retrieve. It seems like it expands the strike zone on that same kind of surface disturbance kind of top water fishing with it. That's why I like it so much better. And I do the same kind of thing, looking at bluegill, imitating stuff. And then a lot of times, if you're kind of keying in on where they're at, because a lot of times post spawn, if you see an old bed, they're going to be hanging around that area. So a lot of times you can even fish slow with post spawn stuff. like you want to keep it in the strike zone as long as you can, because they're so worn out, stressed out, you know, tired from spawning, that you want to keep something slow in front of them in some cases. And if it's nasty weather like we had today, it's probably going to be a lot slower too. That kind of case, I like a fluke that's imitating a bait fish. You know, you can imitate a brim bluegill with the different colors of it, or you know, like darker weightless Senkos that are real slow fish too. That's kind of my go-to post spawn stuff.
Yeah. Well, speaking of worn out, that's definitely me, guys. I think we're going to call it a night. I thank every single one of you that joined us tonight for live. Be sure to tune in next month for the next live. It's always the second Sunday of every month. I think we got to start holding out at summertime, and people got stuff to do. They're outside. There's a little bit more daylight going on. I think we're going to start holding it at 7 o'clock. Seems like a good time, and that way everybody's settled in for the night. So be sure to join us next month. It's going to be the second Sunday of next month, and we'll have it at 7 o'clock. When this video is over, if I appreciate it, leave it a like. That way we can keep us doing what we're doing. It means a lot. And we'll see you next time. Remember, I'm Joe, and we do more in Dinsmore. We'll see you next time. Bubba, say farewell.
I'll see you guys. Yeah, keep watching, keep fishing.
Yeah, he ain't got no catch-and-catch race. We'll see you guys next time. Take care.